producing my show for the last year. He's one of the best in radio. Justin, he has no last name, but can you say hi to everybody? Do you ever talk anymore?
I don't like to talk.
No,
Yeah,
but
he's applying for the Department of Homeland Security.
I love that you're with me in the studio. My very special guest from South San Francisco, Scott Orn, he owns Cruise Consulting. Fabulous guest. Hopefully he'll be back many times. And, of course, our cast, Tom Cairns, who his latest book, his recent book, All Systems Go. It's an easy read. Really, it's an easy read. And if you are an HR or you own a company or you're involved in hiring at any level, the book is called All Systems Go, How to Launch a Successful Job Search. Thomas D. Cairns, and of course my partner here on the business life and our employment career. I don't know what is employment, career, jobs.
JobHow.
JobHow.net. Aaron Moskowitz, and he's a data scientist. He was America's top researcher, but now we're both kind of data scientists, aren't we?
We are.
People are going to ask me what I do. I'm a data scientist.
Yeah, and I'm going to connect with the CEO of Twitter right after the show.
Are you?
Yeah.
And then visiting from Turkey, and hopefully she'll come back also many times because she's fun and smart, and she's a professor at a university in, what's the city in Turkey?
Eskişehir, which means old city.
Eskişehir.
Is that one syllable?
Right?
Eskişehir.
What is that, one chicken in the pot? What's that stand for? You have no idea what it stands for. Welcome, my dear.
Okay, call it whatever you want.
Welcome to American Radio. So,
thank you.
What is uniquely different about jobs in Turkey? Like here in America, when Tom and I were growing up, because we're almost the same age, man, we would have no trouble working 50 hours a week and not expecting to get paid a dime more than 40. I mean, our work ethic is different than today's generation. Like Aaron, maybe 10 hours. What do you work, 10 hours a week? What do you work? You don't even work anymore, do you? What do you work?
Oh, well, it depends. If you include the video game playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Turkey, do people have a work ethic? I mean, is 40 hours a week mean anything?
Well, of course. Well, actually, not much different from here. Old generations, like you said, works much more hours, long hours and pay less. But young generation is different. They want to work less hours and pay much more.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yes.
They have leverage.
Yes.
They have leverage.
Where's the leverage?
Just in how they act. They got that natural mojo, it sounds like.
No.
They get what they want,
Yes.
right? They
Yes.
wouldn't ask for it if they don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's save that for another show. Let's bring Scott.
I'm going to write it down. You better.
I've got a little angst. I got a little angst with you, Aaron, in that you think that entrepreneurism is overrated. Okay, that's what you think. God bless you, Justin.
Bless you, Justin. I think it has its limitations, and it's not for everybody. I mean, we know the failure rate of small business startups in America, and for us to glorify it to the extent that we are with all these conferences and podcasts and whatnot.
You're just a naughty little boy.
Well, it's not for everybody.
Scott Orn and I believe in entrepreneurs. We believe he owns his own company like I do. We have the freedom of choice.
You deserve that. You deserve that. But, I mean, let's be realistic here. Only 1% to 5% of Americans that start their own small business.
Where are you getting your statistics from? Some comic book? Where are you getting these statistics?
Scott, am I anywhere near what you might, startup community might be suggesting as any kind of ratio of success in Silicon Valley?
I would say it's probably 10 to 15% success rate, something like that.
But wait a second. You're involved in fancy.
Well, here's the difference. Here's the difference with the Bay Area. They have this thing called an accelerator that's kind of rampant. Scott knows a lot more about these accelerators. You have Y Combinator. A lot of these are private now. 500 startups, and somehow they got the funding to create these accelerators. They'll put a little bit of money into a startup concept. And they have mentorship and everything already in there. And the accelerator itself gets to pull equity from that startup. But that's not a nationwide phenomenon. This is kind of the secret to success in the Silicon Valley is kind of the nesting of these startups.
In Turkey, Allie, do they have these kinds of things, incubators?
Yes,
or
they
accelerators? Do. They do?
Yes.
Niet. What's niet? Is that Russian? Niet.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Scott, your type of startups are different than what I've grown up with. I mean, you're dealing with well-educated people, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, but then you have the Mark Zuckerbergs who drop out of college, halfway through, and we see a lot of entrepreneurs like that. But I think the difference is maybe culturally up here, and I think this is kind of taking hold in L.A. and in New York as well. People are swinging for the fences a little bit more, and they're okay if it doesn't make it, but they want to try to be a big company. They want to be the next Facebook, the next Google. And Aaron's talking about the accelerators right on. And there are accelerators, all over the country now. And there's Techstars, Y Combinator, 500 Startups. And what those guys do is they really help coach the entrepreneur. Those first kind of 3 to 4 months are super critical. And what was happening was so many smart kind of young people just didn't have business experience, and they were getting sidetracked. So those accelerators help coach them through that period, help them get on the right track, and then it really helps them get the technology foundation set, get the direction going, at which point they can go raise more money if it's a good idea and really accelerate. So that didn't used to exist. So the failure rate used to be even higher 10, 15 years ago.
I love that. KHTS, that's the station you're listening to, AM 1220. Tom Cairns wants to say something.
I wanted to just follow up, Scott, and ask you a question. I know some of it is probably a function of money, but what length of time, what's the patience level for waiting for a company to, say, turn that corner where it looks like it's going to be effective? So if you're looking at a fail rate as an entrepreneur starting up, obviously the sooner you run out of money, you're gone. But is there another time frame that also, assuming you have money, that determines whether or not you're going to be a success?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great question. The typical company, after that first little, angel amount of capital, will usually raise 12 months of capital. So they might raise a $2 million round and burn, a couple $100K a month, something like that. So you're really kind of working within a 12-month, 18-month period. And there's this concept, maybe it's your next book, Tom. It's called Product Market Fit. And what you're really looking for is for customers to begin buying the product or using the product. And the next round of venture capitalists are very, very good at spotting that kind of activity. And once you get product market fit, then the floodgates open up for you. It's almost like all the capital in the world is available to you as long as that's there. And so what you're really, there's this very binary moment in a startup's life where either, no one's using the product and no one really cares that it exists, in which case you pack it up and go home, or the customers really like it, it's increasing in visibility, people are paying you money. It's much easier to get financing at that point. So it's really that 12-month, 18-month period where you're trying to set product market fit. Once you get that, you can really go fast.
Question, Scott Orn, he owns Cruise Consulting, is part of the show here on KHTS AM 1220. The show is called The Business Life. I'm your coach, Coach Ron Tunick, and every week we're talking about trying to help you do better in your job, trying to help you learn how to hire, fire. What else, Aaron, are we trying to help people with? Get jobs, right? We got some ideas coming in the next couple of weeks that are going to blow your mind. I mean, we can't divulge them today, but if you will tell your friends to start listening to the show, and we have some great news coming in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Great news. So 3 things, and then I want to ask Allie a question. On a startup of any type, I don't care if you're opening up a lemonade stand, which we need. I wish we had a lemonade stand right in front right now. Mm-hmm. Is it people? Is it a good idea? Is it timing? Or is it money? Which of those 4 things, good idea, good people, good timing, or money, which of those 4 things, if you were going to start a business, would you want to start with first? What's
People.
I didn't ask you, I asked Scott.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Scott.
I would always start with the people, and then I would go to the idea, because I really believe, kind of going back to the last point, like once you get a fit, once you have a little bit of momentum, you can raise the capital. The capital will be there. There's so many people that are hungry to invest in these ideas.
Why don't we come up
That's really
with an
about
idea,
who you're on the journey with.
Aaron?
Can you build something that people want? And if you do, you're going to be able to get it financed.
You, I, and Allie. Let's come up with an idea.
We're people.
Well,
We're halfway there.
I
Allie,
believe
what do you want to
timing-
do? This guy's got money, Allie. What do you want to do?
Timing is also important. Timing is also important.
But I think I agree with both of them. I think you would say timing. People first.
No. People can adapt to any climate. So people
That's not true.
are independent of the timing. Timing is part of the luck of being successful. But ultimately, Scotty, I mean, back me up here because I don't want to go down in flames. But it really comes down to people. I mean, that's where the investment is.
I'm agreeing with you for the
coming
first
in.
time ever. Allie,
cool.
Tom,
I was going to say
Tommy
that
Cairns.
the former CEO of Pixar would say that good people can
Good friend
make
of
a-
mine.
Can make
Yeah.
good people can make a bad idea good, and bad people can ruin a good idea.
Say that again. That's very clever. Say that again. Good people. Good people.
I need to write this down.
I was going to ask Jason to rewind that one, but
Yeah.
good people can
It's
take
Justin, by the way.
Justin, that's why you didn't look up. Good people can take a bad idea and make it good, and bad people can take a good idea and ruin it.
Interesting. In Turkey. Incidentally, if you're listening, Allie is at a university in Turkey, and she teaches career development.
Yes.
So, is there a hot franchise in Turkey that we can bring over to America? Is there something you guys are doing that we're not doing here?
Actually, we talk about it in Turkey right now.
What do you like? What franchise do you like in America that you would like to bring to Turkey? Is there anything that we're doing? Do you like what's the little ice cream thing?
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's would be good.
There you go. No.
No,
Ice cream? What is
no,
it?
Jersey Mike's
What
is
is
not
it?
ice cream.
What is it?
Yogurt shops. Do you have yogurt shops?
Well, actually, we invented the yogurt, so we don't need yogurt shops.
Wow, that's a pretty major statement. Are you sure it wasn't Greece?
Well, actually, I'm
Basically,
from.
just told me to stuff it.
Actually, my ancestors comes from a Caucasia, so really we invented the yogurt.
But is
I'm
there?
serious about it.
on
You
an
can search
application,
it.
I had to say I was Caucasian.
But is there one business that you would like to bring from America to Turkey? Is there anything you like about America that you'd like to bring home?
Well, I like Starbucks, and we already have Starbucks in every town
And
almost.
Turkey's a
but-
very modern country.
yes.
I mean, yeah, and it's a beautiful country. My God, and you have public transportation better than what we have,
Well, yes, we do, and
rivers, and
yes,
rivers.
Yes,
Yeah.
everything. So I can't really think of anything.
Wish we had rivers in LA. We have
But
no
we can
rivers.
something
LA
from
River.
Turkey to America.
You ever been to San Francisco where Scott is?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
isn't that
many
gorgeous?
times.
What a
many
beautiful
times.
city. So, Scott, welcome back to the show we call The Business Life. We're talking about employment. Scott owns Cruise Consulting. Now, in Southern California, you have an office in Santa Monica. Are you looking for like a startup? I mean, if Allie and Aaron and Tom and I can come up with something, would you help us fund it or help us get hired? What would Cruise Consulting do?
Yeah, we would set you up in conjunction with lawyers. We'd set you up in the correct type of corporation, help you get your benefits set up, help you get your payroll set up, help all your accounting get set up, and then going forward do your monthly reconciliations, help you with financial modeling, 409A evaluations, all those kinds of things. So we're really there to just let you focus on the idea and the execution and not worry so much about like the financial and accounting overhead.
No, and that makes sense if you're somebody who's really so highly focused and an expert in something, you're not really thinking about all these other things, huh, Tom Cairns?
That's true.
It is true. Now, if we're going to start something, I think the four of us agreed it'd be something robotic, right? We're going to start a robotic company.
Right. And actually, this is a big trend right now that I wanted to ask Scotty about. iPad robots.
Humans are going to be working for robots.
iPad robots. It's called telemetry. Have you heard of this, Scott?
You know, I haven't heard of them, but I've invested in iPad robots before, and it didn't quite work out, but it ended up kind of pivoting, which is a great Silicon Valley word, into this drone company. I believe it's called Zipline, and they're now flying drones in Africa, delivering medicine across 10, 20-mile radiuses. So, it's kind of one of those things where the computer robot thing didn't work out, but the drone really did. And,
Wow.
I just think it's a good example of, like, you get into something, you start building it, maybe
Well, we've lost him somewhere. I think we lost a connection. Are you on your mobile phone there?
Oh no, I'm on the landline, but maybe it cut out there.
No, we're good. We're good.
We got you.
Yeah, we got
brought
you.
you back.
So zip line, that's interesting. So drones, maybe we need to think about opening up a drone company.
Or, I mean, did you ever think of exporting that to Turkey?
How about drone hot
Because
dogs?
our partner
how
is-
about
yeah.
no? How about you want a hot dog for lunch? We'll make the hot dog and put it on.
Well,
a
I'm
drone.
kind of bummed now because I thought maybe I could work in San Francisco via
He has an
via
office.
robot.
He has an office in Santa Monica.
Well, yeah, I figured I could just remote control this little robot and show my face.
Allie, are there drones in Turkey?
Drones?
Drones. Let's move on.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on.
We need some supplementary explanation there.
Let's move on. The show's called The Business Life, KHTS AM 1220. You can listen on Hometown Station. Best radio app in the United States. Go to the App Store, download the app, KHTS AM 1220. It'll pop. It's a great app.
It does
it's
exactly
really one of
what
the-
it's supposed to.
You can listen, boom, like right now. Thanks, Aaron Moskowitz, my partner. So, Aaron, let's get back to something we don't really agree on, and that is I think most people should not go to college. I think most people would be better off working with Scott Orn side by side, or working with me, or working with Tom Aarons side by side for a couple of years. I think they would learn more, be more, and be on the inside, because starting off at 21 or 22, you just graduated from college, you know how to pass a test, but you don't know how life works. You don't know how business works. You have no clue as to how you're going to be productive in my company.
Well, I half agree with you, but it just depends. If college is part of that journey, for a lot of professions, if you're going to be a lawyer, right?
Well,
If you're
no,
gonna
I'm
be
not
a
talking
doctor-
about doctor, lawyers, and in chief.
Okay, thanks for explaining.
No, of
Okay.
course not.
All right.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. But go whatever your direct path is to get to where you want. Don't put college in the middle of that if not necessary.
Scott, have you ever had a class in college that teach you how to build drones? I don't think you don't go to college to build drones, right, Scott? Where do you learn how to build drones?
I think the value of college is both, as Aaron noted, it's part of the journey. You learn a lot about yourself. And there's also just this level of stick-to-itiveness that you learn and you accomplish by getting that degree. And, we always joke here. We hired someone one time who kind of faked their college education.
Whoa!
It came out like 3 months later that person had not quite finished. And, we laughed because their biggest problem working with us was that they would never quite finish their assignments. They never get things all the way done. And so we really drew a parallel there. Like if you're not going to be able to kind of push through and finish and get your degree, you might be like that in the workforce. That's not to say everyone's going to be like that, but it's a signal.
Interesting. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I'm going to go over quickly with everybody in the studio the 12 things that 12 steps for a good hire. 12 steps so that you can hire a champion. 12 steps so you can hire a champion. Can come right back on the show we call The Business Life. Aaron Moskowitz and the coach with Tom Cairns. And, of course, our special gorgeous guest. Oh, I can't say that. I cannot say that. Our pleasant guest from Turkey, Allie. Will be right back. Now, we're not moving slow today. So it's summertime. Your kids are either going back to school, they left school, they graduate, they're going to college. Our show is called The Business of Life, brought to you by Lisa's Tax Service. Lisa's Tax Service, if you're in trouble, she can represent you in front of the IRS. If you're not in trouble and you just need somebody to do your taxes, she's very, very affordable. Trust me, I know. 661 area code 904-2351. So on the phone from San Francisco, one of my favorite cities, Scott Orn, Cruise Consulting. In the studio, Tom Cairns, the author of his latest book, All Systems Go, How to Launch a Successful Job Search. He just announced to us his next book is How to Get an Invite to Turkey. You want to be a visiting professor?
I'd love to guest lecture, sure.
Yeah, and so would I. Maybe we go together.
There you go.
So, well, I don't know, have 14 hours to Turkey.
Well, I invite
Could we
you
come
all of
over
them.
and be visiting professors?
Yes.
Yes. So, and
But you got to be able to pronounce the university name. That's
well, I can
probably the-
pronounce
How to get a
Guzel.
government
Please
job.
work on it.
Ali Guzel, right?
Right.
Professor
Right.
Ali Guzel, and you teach young people career development.
Yes, career development.
What does that mean? What does career development mean?
Well,
Aren't you better off finding somebody who's wealthy and trying to date them? Isn't that a better?
well, that is the best option, I guess. And easiest.
I'm giving you practical stuff. That's what I told my daughters there in Moscow.
Well, our class curriculum is comprised of how to prepare a resume, and then job interview, how to dress for job interview, soft skills.
All right, next week I'm gonna beat up on resumes. So I think resumes are a bunch of BS. Scott Orn, next week you can chime in if you want, but you have to be invited back, and that'll cost you thousands of dollars. But do you believe in resumes? I mean, are resumes at startups, do they mean anything? Scott? No, we lost Scott.
Oh,
That's fine. All right, we'll have him back. He was a great guest.
Resumes are important.
You really think they're important? Let
They're-
me ask the boss. Okay, Tom Cairns.
and Scott could either confirm or deny, but on a entrepreneurial level, and when it comes to pitching a business idea, one of the things that any potential investor, the first thing they look at are the people that are associated with it. So they are looking at backgrounds, whether that be through a bio or a resume or some other element. That's going to be what they look at first.
All right. Well, I know the three of you will be back next week, and I'm going to tell you why resumes are just a bunch of BS. All right. Here's my 12 steps to a good hire. Ready? Right? Take some notes.
Now. Okay, I'm right.
Now.
Okay.
First of all, pray. I believe in prayer. I pray myself 20 times a day. Pray for a good outcome. Ask God for help. And for all my non-believers, I understand where you think that's a bunch of BS.
That's number one.
It's in my top 12. I'm
Okay,
not
all right.
numbering them.
Okay,
I'm not
I just want
numbering
to see if
them.
there's some
no-
context to the
Two,
order.
get referrals. Get referrals. So if I was going to hire you, I'd say, give me a couple of referrals. Okay. Three, how about a 30-minute drive-by interview? I want a quick interview. I just want to talk to you for about 10 or 15 minutes. I want to see how you react to a lot of quick questions. 4, references. Do you have references? I want references on your last 2 jobs. 5, I might do some testing. That's a big if for me. Tom, do you believe in testing? Tom Cairns?
Yes and no.
Do you, Professor, believe in testing?
My answer is same, yes and no.
But they're both really shallow, gray. Okay. Do you like the person? See, this is one of the. Do you like the person? Because they have to be able to get along. Tom, is that important?
Absolutely.
That's number one, I think.
Yes.
They would call that
right
fit or match.
Do they light me up when I'm interviewing? Do they light me up? Is there something about them, Tom? When you must interview literally thousands of people? Did people light you up?
The ones that did are the ones you're going to gravitate towards it. You move off their energy.
There you go.
They energize you.
There you go. Moving quickly through the 12 questions, only have a minute left. I want them to do a budget as to are they going to be able to afford to work for me. I'll get into the rest of these next week. We're running out of time. Tom Cairns, you'll come back if you can.
Next week I will try to, if you
Okay.
send that chauffeur.
I will.
I'll be in Turkey.
No, I picked him up. You're in Turkey next week.
In 14 hours.
Allie's got to invite you first. Allie, you're coming back, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You were a great guest. All right, the show is called The Business Life, and we're going to continue to try to help you do better in finding a job, keeping a job, getting a job. This book will help you. All Systems Go, How to Launch a Successful Job Search by Tom Cairns. I'll see you down the road. I'm the coach.